In this video, I'm going to talk about how much you should charge for your email marketing services. If you're a freelancer looking to understand how much you should price your email marketing services at, maybe you're moving away from a job or you're starting an email marketing business as a side gig and want to understand how much you should be charging your customers, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hey there, funnel builders, Mike here from Sell Your Service. Thanks for joining me in another video. If you are a funnel builder and you're not subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I produce new videos like this every single week, helping you increase your prices, sell more services, and ultimately sell your projects for at least 25 grand. Remember, I've also got my focus report, which is a custom report that you can get sent to you. Just answer a few questions. Head over to sellyourservice.co.uk/focus and it'll tell you exactly what you need to focus on in your marketing funnel business to start charging 25 grand plus. But enough bullshit, let's start talking about charging for email marketing. So I think it's important to start with the kind of roundabout question that you're asking. You are obviously watching this because you want to know, how much should I charge for my email marketing services? If you're a freelancer, if you run a marketing funnel business, whatever it is that you do, you've clicked on this video because you want to understand how much you should charge. But the real question that I feel I am being asked a lot of the time by people who ask a question like this is, how much can I get away with charging? It's important to note from the get-go that you're never going to create a price or a structure or a pricing model that everyone's going to be happy with. Some of the prices I'm going to talk about in this video are going to be like 10 grand, 25 grand, 100 grand. And you might be thinking that's insane. And even if you scale it right down into like $1,000 or even a few $100s or a few £100 or euros, there are still going to be people who think that you're too expensive. I know this to be true because even when I have released books for like 99 cents as like a launch, I still get people messaging me being like, do you have a cheaper version? I'm like, we need to remove this idea that you're going to magically find some kind of price that your customers are extremely happy about all of the time, because that's not necessarily the case. You're never going to find a pricing model that everyone that you talk to agrees about. So put pricing from your competition aside, put pricing from other businesses aside, because none of that matters. It's your price, it's your business, and we're going to figure out a pricing model that works specifically for you. There's a bit of a misconception that price is equal to experience, and that the longer you've been doing something, the more you can increase your prices. You might have even said this to yourself where you think, well, I'll start charging more when I have a bit more experience. I'm only new, I'm only starting out, I'm not going to charge too much, I want to get my wings, so to speak. And you see that other people out there are charging thousands or tens of thousands of pounds, and you think, well, yeah, but they've been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, whatever. The myth is that the price that you charge is tied to experience. They've got nothing to do with each other. I remember being told years ago that when you increase your price, the perception is that it's experience. And it's not the experience in the skill that you're delivering, it's the experience with customers, and you think, I should increase my prices. So you could actually be a beginner in photography or lighting or doing YouTube videos, and it's your experience with learning how to price that affects your price, not your experience with the skill, if that makes sense. It's kind of apt that we're talking about this today because I'm wearing one of my favorite t-shirts, my little MailChimp t-shirt. So this here is the pricing circle. I wish I had a more kind of interesting name for it, but there we go. And at the moment it does look a little bit more like a pricing egg. However, the core of what we're trying to get to is this middle part here. This is where you will find higher prices. The more focused you are on the niche and the problem, the higher you can charge your prices. On the outside, this is what most people focus on. This is who you are. So most people will call themselves an email marketing freelancer, and that is the weakest position to be in, partly because everybody is in this position and it's also the most basic understanding. But what's interesting is that it's furthest away from the customer. This is your customer in here, trapped inside the yolk of the egg, and that is actually the furthest away from them. So when people say, oh, Mike, you know, I'm an email marketing freelancer, you got any leads for me, you got any referrals for me? I'm like, I don't know what you do. I work with a lot of email marketers and email marketing freelancers. I don't necessarily know what you do. So it's difficult for me to make a recommendation based on your understanding from your point of view. Next up, this middle part, this is slightly better and it's slightly closer to the customer. This is what you do. This is when people will say, oh, we focus on e-commerce email marketing or online course email marketing or podcast email marketing, and they'll frame it from the perspective still of what they do with the slightest taste of a niche in there. This is better, and this is certainly better than nothing, and it's often the beginning of a niche, but it's still not framed from the perspective of the customer. If the customer doesn't value email marketing, then they're not going to value you. They value their own stuff a little bit, e-commerce, they certainly value that a little bit, but they don't necessarily value email marketing unless they really understand what it is. And bizarrely, even though they run an e-commerce business, for example, that doesn't necessarily then they're going to understand or even care about what email marketing does. And the middle part here is niche/problem. You need to have both of these included, the niche and the problem you're solving. This is the way to increase your prices. If you say that we work with online e-commerce stores as opposed to offline e-commerce stores, or online shoe manufacturers, or online shipping warehouse businesses, or garden centers, coaches, authors, audio equipment manufacturers, photographers, whatever, as long as you've got some kind of niche, and then you talk about the problem that you solve, that is a faster way of increasing your prices because it's focused on the customer. So if you say, well, we work with e-commerce businesses to help them shift stale items and save warehouse costs, that's a problem they're going to want to spend 25 grand on, 10 grand on, 50 grand on, whatever, because you're positioning it from the point of their business and their life. So now we understand the pricing circle. First of all, if you want to work out what you need to charge, you need to figure out what do you want to make. That is the number one question that you have to be able to answer before you can figure out, well, how much do I need to charge my customers? Then I want you to think about, well, how many customers do I want to work with? If it's just you as the freelancer, you might have to be the one doing the work with the customer. Even if you've got a small team, you need to viably think, well, if I'm going to work with 4 customers a year and I want to earn 100 grand, that's 25 grand per customer. So the pricing model is not a question of how much can customers afford or how much are people willing to spend or what's the average price for an email marketing freelancer or email marketing consultant. The question should be, how much do you need to charge per customer, per project in order to meet your revenue goals? After that, I want you to think about, how are you going to serve your customers? Are you going to be working one-on-one with them? Are you going to be doing coaching? Are you going to be actually going in there and doing the work with them? Or are you going to be kind of doing consulting and working with their team? Are you going to have a team of people? Are you going to be supplying email templates? After you've decided how much you need to earn per customer, and I understand that that's a difficult question to start on, but you categorically, empirically need to answer that, because otherwise you're just going to be randomly pricing things and you're not going to be working towards that greater goal. So I need you to have worked out, well, I want to earn 100 grand a year. I want to work with 10 customers, that's 10 grand per customer. Great. How are you going to work with that customer for the 10 grand? That's roughly under $1,000 per month. So are you going to be doing consulting with them? Are you just going to take the project on, do it all, deliver it to them? Are you going to outsource it or hire people to do things and then push it out to them? I want you to work out, first of all, what you're going to deliver and also how you're going to deliver it to them. Even as a freelancer, it's critical that you have other people and systems on board. I would hold off from buying any tools like any automation systems and things yet until you've made the sale. It might sound insane to think, well, I don't know if I'd be able to charge 10 grand just for email marketing, but there are businesses out there that do it. Hell, I used to do it and I wasn't nearly as experienced as I am now. And the systems and tools were even worse back then, so you could do less. Because the question is not, are you delivering 10 grand's worth of email marketing? The question is, are you delivering 10 grand's worth of results to that customer? Because when this all boils down, the question is really, well, what are you offering? So the first question is, how much do you want to make? The second question is, how are you going to deliver it? The third question is, well, what's your offer? What actually are you doing? What's the problem you're solving? For example, if you started working with shoe-based e-commerce businesses that buy in kind of end of season stock and they put it on their e-commerce website and they just start selling it out, they obviously buy in 10 of one item, 1 of one item, 100 of another item. It's kind of very varied. And their biggest problem is obviously making sure that all the stock goes. Typically, size 7 to 9 for men goes really quickly, and size 4 to 6 for women goes quickly. So you need to be able to make sure, well, all this extra stock we've got of size 12 and 13 trainers, we need to start shifting it. And if their biggest problem is inventory left over in their warehouse, that can cost them money. And if for the fact of a 10 grand payment, they can make sure that their stock inventory goes down, they have higher turnover of more frequency of customers, and they have more customers buying stock that they didn't know about through email marketing. And you could set up tags and automations and this kind of stuff. If you're doing that, that's a 10 grand problem worth solving. If instead, and I have seen this happen, it's a terrible sales pitch. If you say, look, you'll have 10 grand's worth of support, we'll be with you, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to build, we'll go in and build it for you. You're basically paying, or the customer is paying you to come up with problems that you need to solve. And personally, I think that's lazy consulting. I've seen people sell that in the past. If you've ever watched Kitchen Nightmares, I seem to bring up Kitchen Nightmares a lot.
You French pig!
But if you've ever seen on Kitchen Nightmares, occasionally they'll have like a marketing manager for the restaurant or for the hotel or whatever. And Gordon's like, well, what was your big marketing idea then? Like, what's the thing that you're helping with? That's a really good example of a marketing consultant who's come in and says, you as the owner discover the problem and I'll fix it, and you can pay me not only to fix it, but we'll also have to hire someone. Personally, I think that type of consulting is bullshit. It's the reason why consulting's been given a bad name. But instead, if you say really specifically, well, what we do is actually reduce warehouse inventory and they call it like stale inventory because it's not moving. We take stale inventory and we sell it, and they go, well, how do you do that? I go, well, we use email marketing and automation. A lot of the time the owner's going to go, yeah, we've heard about that, we wanted to get someone in. You go, well, I'm going to help you solve that problem. I'm going to help e-commerce businesses shift stale inventory using email automation. That's a 10 grand problem worth solving. You're not, if you refer back to the pricing circle, it's not about who you are, it's not about what you do, it's the problem you solve for that niche. I would argue that if a customer says, oh, we really need an email marketer, and for you to come on board, you should be charging more for the work where they tell you what they want and you do it. You should be standardizing your offer, and that's going to help you set your prices much higher. In my book, 5-Figure Funnels, which is the #1 bestseller, by the way. If you are looking to charge 10 grand or 25 grand for your marketing services, I highly recommend checking this out. At the time of recording, it is still like 99p on Amazon. We'll probably increase that price soon. I'd love to know how much you're charging for your email marketing. Let me know in the comments down below. If this video was useful, give me a thumbs up. If you are a funnel builder and you want to continue learning how much to charge for your marketing funnel services and how to sell those services, go ahead and click subscribe. Remember, we've also got the focus report, which is a free custom report that you can get sent to you, which will tell you like how close you are to charging a 25 grand customer, or how to do that, like how to structure your business. It will just tell you how to do that for your business. I've got another video on email marketing, like how I do email strategy, which is kind of a useful exercise to start doing with customers as well. So I'll put that, I don't know, it's probably going to be the side of me just here now. And you can go ahead and check out how I deliver email strategy and how I build email strategy for my own email marketing and for my customers. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. I'll see you on the next one. Have courage, commit, and take action.